Hello, so I'm going to just do a review of my little Chinese truck because it's just done its first 100 kilometers. I got this from China last October and it took 4 or 5 weeks to arrive, and then it sat in the port while the customs people decided whether it was a car or a motorbike, and it eventually became an electric tricycle. It wasn't difficult to get it into the country really. It was quite successfully managed by an importing company, so that was great and they were really helpful. So you see these all over China. They're absolutely everywhere, which gives you an idea of kind of the utility of them. They're unbelievably simple, really. It's kind of a moped with a truck on the back. The difference with this one is it's electric. It's got a pack of batteries under there, like a stack of them with an inverter. I don't really understand why it needs one, but it's got one, and it just runs on the electrics. So it's got quite ferocious torque on it. So when you first get used to driving it, it throws you forwards really quickly, but that ain't too bad. And once you get going using it, it's really fun. It's a really fun vehicle. The one thing that I've noticed people who haven't driven it before fail to recognise, and it's caused a number of crashes, is that is the accelerator and that is the brake. Consequently, people tend to do that and spin and surge forwards. So if there was a slight modification, I guess it would be to put that on that side and keep the brake and the accelerator off the same side, but it's only a matter of getting used to it. The result of this not being understood was that within about the first 3 days of getting it, it was smashed into the workshop at considerable speed, and the lights and the horn and everything else since then hasn't worked because it ripped all the electrics off. And to be honest, where I use it, we don't need it anyway, but it was a bit frustrating really that had happened, because it otherwise would have been, I don't think you class it as roadworthy in the UK. I don't think it would be allowed, but it would have the necessary things. It's got brake lights, it's got indicators, and such like. What you can do with it is all sorts of things. You can drop down all of the sides if you want to. You can drop down that side and that side and make it into a flatbed. I tend to just leave this down quite a lot to chop wood in the back and chippings and things like that. This lifts up so you can pull it right up in the air. There's a couple of locking points. I won't do it now because I'll tip all my drills out. I modified it with this piece of metal because I wanted to be able to hang things off it like a bag for gear, but it wasn't there to start with. It is what it is. It's cheap and cheerful really, but it's incredibly practical. You can get in and out of the woods with it really easily. I mean, I could run my way down there, pick up some sticks and run my way out again. It has high diff and low diff. So there's the high diff, there's the low diff. Handbrake. It's a cracking little vehicle. Wish I'd had one years ago, and I don't understand why there's none of them in Britain, because they are really, really useful things. If you've got a bit of space and you just need it to get around in the garden or in the woods, I recommend it. It's considerably cheaper than a quad bike, and actually I find it more practical because I can put in more or less half a ton of stuff in here and it'll chug along carrying it quite happily. So thumbs up to the Chinese tricycle, electric tricycle. I'll do another review at 200,000. Sorry, 200 kilometres. 200,000 kilometres would be interesting as well, but let's not get too ambitious. Yeah, everything about it is just so simple. It's really easy to use, it's really easy to drive, it's great fun. It's like having a moped, but a bit more stable. And for me, that's quite a good thing, because otherwise I'd be falling off all the time. Yeah, so there we are. Chinese truck. It looks rubbish, but I assure you, it really isn't. It's just fantastic. So there you go.